My brother-in-law humiliated my wife at our own wedding by giving a toast where he pulled out intimate things about her in front of 200 guests. I didn't respond that day. 6 years later I gave the toast at his birthday party on the day no one in the family wanted him talking anymore. Last Saturday my brother-in-law turned 40. The party was small, at my in-laws' house in a quiet residential part of Tijuana, 35 guests, all family. Iván showed up drunk at 9. He asked to speak at 11. He clinked the glass with a knife and stood up. He started crying in front of everyone. He said, "Family, I know I haven't been my best these past 2 years. I'm asking all of you to forgive me. Real quick before this gets worse, and trust me it gets worse, if you live for this kind of Reddit chaos, hit subscribe. A like genuinely helps us bring you more of this stuff we're all addicted to." Okay, back to the story. I know I need help. I want to ask all of you to support me the way we've always supported each other in this family. My mother-in-law Lupita was sitting next to Iván. She held his arm. Iván went on for 10 more minutes. He sat down. Nobody clapped. I stood up. I clinked my glass with a knife. I said, "Iván, can I borrow the microphone?" Iván passed it to me. Let me back up. My name is Marco Sandoval. All my high school friends call me Machis, because my grandparents were from Los Machis, Sinaloa. I'm 36. Civil engineer from UABC. I own a small construction company in Tijuana, Sandoval Construcciones, that I've been running for 8 years. I live with my wife Adriana and our 3-year-old son Daniel in a house we finished building last year, in a gated community on the riverside of the city. Adriana is a primary school teacher at a bilingual school. My mom Esperanza still lives in Mexicali. My dad died when I was 14. I have an older sister, Liliana, who lives in San Diego with my brother-in-law and 2 nieces. My wife's family name is Robles. They're Tijuanenses going back 4 generations. My in-laws, Don Beto and Dona Lupita, own Logística Robles, a cross-border trucking and warehousing company my father-in-law founded in 1988 with 2 trucks and that now has almost 100 employees, 2 warehouses, and a fleet running between Tijuana and Otay. Adriana is the youngest. Her sister Mariana, 37, is married to Iván. Iván Robles, he's not Robles by birth, he changed his last name when he married into the family to get into the company, is the brother-in-law I'm telling you about. Iván is 40. Studied business administration. Son of Baja California small business owners with less money than the Robles but with a recognized last name. When he married Mariana, 14 years ago, Don Beto put him into the company as commercial manager. Iván had never closed a sale in his life. Don Beto put up with him because he was his son-in-law and Mariana asked him to. I'm going to tell a dozen things, because if I don't, this sounds exaggerated. The first time Iván humiliated Adriana was 2 months before I met her. She told me at the 6-month mark of dating. At a family dinner, Iván said at the table, Adriana is the smart one in the family, you know, the one who ended up alone because she was too much for the boys in the neighborhood. Adriana was 28. She'd been alone a year and a half after a long relationship that ended bad. The table laughed. The second time was when we announced to the family we were getting married. Iván said, in Don Beto's living room, at a Sunday lunch, Machis, just so you know, she comes priced above market. You sure? Don Beto told him, Iván, enough. Iván laughed. The third was the wedding toast. We got married at a hacienda in Valle de Guadalupe 6 years ago. 200 guests. Adriana in white. Iván was best man, Mariana insisted, protocol, and he was up first for the toast. He started soft. He'd had 4 tequilas during the toast prep, he was supposed to go first, then my brother, and you could tell. He said, holding the microphone with both hands, Adriana, sister, I've loved you my whole life. After what happened with Pedro we all thought you weren't going to get married, you remember, ma, pa. Look at her, today in white. Machis, fair warning, you ride out the bad days, when she goes down hard. Cheers to my sister, who made it to the altar. Dona Lupita lowered her face. Mariana closed her eyes. Adriana squeezed my hand under the table. I didn't know what to do. I looked at my sister Liliana at the back of the room. Liliana shook her head once, don't respond, and I stayed seated. Pedro was Adriana's ex. He hit her twice. Adriana left him at 29, spent 9 months in a rough place, and I met her when she was already okay and working as a teacher. No guest outside the family knew any of that until that moment. Adriana cried in the hotel room that night. I didn't say anything to Iván. The 4th humiliation was at Daniel's baptism. Iván said in the Godfather toast, they nominated him godfather again in his own family even though I'd cut him from that role. Machis, you're officially on the Robles side now. Welcome, you can't get out anymore. Family laughter. The fifth was at a posada at my in-laws' house. Iván told Daniel, my son, 2 years old at the time, you've got your mom's eyes, just be careful you don't pick up her temper, eh. Adriana stood up. She took Daniel to another room. The sixth was at my 33rd birthday. Iván said at dinner, Machis, here's to your construction company someday reaching the level of Logística Robles. Just a couple of generations away. The laugh was forced. Don Beto told him, Iván, knock it off. The seventh I'm not going to retell. It was what happened Christmas 2 years ago. Adriana cried 3 hours in the car on the way home. I told her, Adri, this is the last one. If he opens his mouth like that one more time, we stop coming to your parents when he's around. Adriana told me, I don't want the family to break. I said, Adri, it's broken. We've been carrying the broken 6 years. That same Christmas, after we got home, Mariana called Adriana crying. Mariana said, Adri, I'm sorry. I've been asking him for years to stop. He doesn't listen. I asked him to stop today, in front of my mom, and he kept going. Adriana said, Mariana, does he treat you well? Mariana stayed quiet. What happened next I didn't make happen. In January 2 years ago, Don Beto fired Iván from Logística Robles. They found 600,000 pesos missing over 12 months. Don Beto didn't press charges out of respect for Mariana. He asked for the resignation. Iván signed. Iván made it 3 months without a job. He started drinking hard. Mariana left him in April for 6 months. She came back in October when Iván said he was going to a group. Iván left the group at 4 weeks. Mariana found out Iván had pulled more from the family account and she left him in February of last year, this time for good. He lives with Daniel, my nephew, not my son, the two are both named Daniel, in an apartment he rents close to Don Beto's house. Iván lives with his parents. His parents shut down their own family business 3 years ago over bad management. Iván doesn't have steady work. He does consulting that doesn't pay. Don Beto wires him a monthly amount under the table because Mariana asks him to. My company put up 3 big projects in the last 2 years. Sandoval Construcciones is in the BC Certified Contractor Directory. My son Daniel turns 4 in August. Adriana was promoted to academic director at the school. Last Saturday Iván turned 40. Mariana threw the small party at Don Beto and Dona Lupita's. I didn't want to go. Adriana told me, Machis, let's go for my mom. Dona Lupita has early onset Parkinson's now and it cost her to put it together. We got there at 7:30. Daniel stayed home with my mom Esperanza, who came up from Mexicali for the weekend. Iván got there drunk. He greeted Adriana at the door. He said, Adri, pretty cunada, thanks for coming. Adriana said, happy birthday, Iván. Marco, me, not Daniel my nephew, didn't shake his hand. Iván didn't ask for it. At 11 Iván stood up. Iván's toast went 10 minutes. He asked the family for forgiveness. He cried. He asked for support. He said, we always support each other. Don Beto looked at his plate. Mariana looked at the ceiling. Dona Lupita held his arm in silence. When Iván finished, I stood up. I asked him for the microphone. He passed it to me. I stood next to him. I said to the family, in a quiet voice. 6 years ago, at my and Adriana's wedding, Iván took a microphone like this one and said things no brother-in-law should say about his sister on her day. Adriana cried that night. I didn't respond that day because it was Adriana's day and I wasn't going to make it more mine. Today is Iván's day. Iván asked us for support. I want to give him the answer I didn't give back then. I looked at Don Beto. Don Beto nodded once. Adriana watched me without moving. I said to Iván, looking at him, Iván, for 6 years you spoke to Adriana and to me as if you were above us. Today you ask for help as if you were still above us. I want to tell you that the table changed a long time ago. If at some point you see me or Adriana on the street, walk on by. If at some point you call my wife again to ask her to help you talk to her mom, I'm telling you now, she's not going to pick up. And if at any point in the coming years you run into my son Daniel, don't even think about telling him the joke about his mom's eyes. Cheers to the family. Nobody laughed. Don Beto took a sip. Dona Lupita brought the napkin to her face. Mariana nodded. I sat down. Iván stood up 2 minutes later and walked out. I haven't seen him since. Mariana told Adriana the next day, on the phone, Adri, I asked Iván not to come to Christmas this year. My mom agrees. Iván sent me a message the day after the birthday. It said, Machis, I know you're right. I want you to know I'm going to look for help, seriously this time. I didn't reply. Mariana told me a week later that Iván hadn't called the group. I didn't ask further. The toast Iván gave at my wedding he gave when he had the microphone and nobody was going to take it from him. The toast I gave at his birthday I gave when he handed it to me, not knowing it was no longer his. The difference between the two toasts wasn't what we said. The difference was who was standing and who was seated when the glass got raised. 6 years ago he was standing and I stayed seated out of respect for Adriana. Last Saturday I stood up because nobody in the family wanted him talking anymore.